Okay, so everybody's going to get a scary message that I am now recording. If that's a problem for you, no problem, just hide your video. And today I want to welcome Gale Senior Training Consultant Stacy Niblo who is doing the final of 3 pop-up workshops for us on the Gale Peterson's Test and Career Prep Workshop online. In the chat box, I did put a link to the previous 2 trainings, which are just 30 minutes long, which are very targeted to how you can help particular audiences. So feel free to take a look at those. This one will be up there not long after we finish. And over to you, Stacy.
All right, thanks, Mary. Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be back. Welcome to our basic skills and ESL resources and Peterson's Test and Career Prep online. We're going to be taking a look at basically how you can help those users who are looking to build up some basic English, math skills, help with any ESL patrons, and take a look at our citizenship tools as well. So I'll start with just a brief overview of the resource so you can kind of have an idea of what else you might use it for, what all's there. And then as always, we wrap up with Gale support. So you can reach out to your Gale team or take advantage of all the great on-demand tools that are available out at our support site for New Jersey. As we go through, feel free to ask questions anytime, whether in the chat or if you want to unmute. Happy to take those at any point. If you see something on the screen you want to know more about, or have a request for a particular test, you know, our product team loves to hear ideas from our users. So definitely pass along any of that info if you'd like to share. And again, I'm going to give you contact info. So as things come up in the library, just keep sending it to us. The more often we hear things, the more likely we are to be able to make updates. So let me go ahead and introduce the resource. Oh, and there's I'm always behind my animation. So yes, ask questions anytime. And we have a whole resource here. There's lots of great content. So I just wanted to give you, again, an overview. Gale partners with Peterson's, who's of course a pretty well-known name in the test prep and college prep game. We have a lot of great content that used to, when I was in the library, sit on the shelves and maybe not come back in the best condition or come back at all. They were hard to keep actually on the shelves. So they were so popular, but it's hard to replace them all the time when you've got folks tearing out pages and writing in them and things like that. So great to have this content available electronically with unlimited use so you can point your users to it. A lot of great test prep is available here for college, but also career. We're going to look at not so much of the standardized tests, well, actually a couple of sections, but things like the SAT, the ACT are some of our more popular tests. You've also got a lot of great tests relating to career, things like civil service exams, firefighters exam, military, health and medicine related. Lots of good stuff to get folks ready to take those actual exams. There's a great career tool to help folks find what they want to do in their career. So whether they're, say high school students, deciding, or adults who maybe want to make a change. There's an assessment. There is lots of advice content around career. We have a tool to help them when they're ready to create resumes and send out cover letters and things like that. So can almost be kind of an A to Z type resource depending on what somebody needs out of it, or you kind of jump in and choose the things you need. So Peterson's, of course, also known for their college books where you can browse and find out more about schools. There's some really handy searches to find the perfect school, but also help finding scholarships, getting advice about financial aid and other issues. So nice little one-stop shopping for a lot of the things that Peterson's does really well. So we're going to focus on a few particular things. And what we're going to use is there are kind of 4 paths into all of the content that's available. And something may pop up under more than one path here and there too, where they're needed. Most of the things we're going to look at today to focus on basic skills and, sorry folks, I'm having trouble advancing my slides lately. We're going to look under improve your score for a lot of the tools we use for basic skill building and ESL. Improve your score is just one of the paths. You can kind of see the descriptions there for the others. So let me know if there's anything you want to see out of those, but a lot of what we'll need today will be under improve your score. And we're ready to dive in. So the home page of the resource kind of lets you know what you can do there. We've got the, 4 paths. Sorry. And you'll notice that with this resource, you do need to create an account really to get to anything. You can browse, but once you want to create a resume, once you want to take an online test or test prep, I should say, practice exam, you need to have an account in the resource because it's keeping track of how you're doing in those tutorials, how you're doing in those practice tests, in your resume, all of that. You're going to come back and can revisit and pick up where you've left off. So before you go too much further into the resource, you're going to get prompted to create an account, or of course log in if you've already created one. And we've got it here at the bottom of the home page, but then also up in the top banner. So you can jump right in. And creating an account is very easy. I'm going to use an account that I've already created so I can kind of show you some work I've done. But let's show you what the new user sign up looks like. We don't require much information here. Name, email address, username, password, secret word are basically the fields we have, so fairly short. And actually, email is optional. You don't have to provide your email address. This can be important for some users. They don't like to hand that information over. Why we ask for it is really it's the easiest way to reset a password should you forget it. But if you don't give us your email address, there's still another way to do it. So you have that alternate path. Should you give your email address, the only way we use it is to reset your password. You're not all of a sudden going to end up on mailing lists. We're not selling a mailing list. So you're going to, get emails from Peterson's or Gale or anything. It's really just to reset your password. But again, since not everybody's comfortable doing that, we've made it optional. And you have unlimited use of this resource. So, as someone who works in the library, you want to get in here and play around so you can know when to point users to it. Feel free to create an account to play around with or create an account just for you to, maybe use for yourself. Unlimited accounts here. So you can create as many as you need. But again, I'm going to go ahead and log into one so we can see some of the work that I've done ahead of time. And really the homepage looks almost the same, except one of the neat things you can do is star your favorite tools within the resource so that they're always right here on the homepage under your favorites. So you can get back to them quickly. So if I want to jump right back into my GED exam prep course, I'm there, with a click rather than maybe the 3 it might take me if I go through the improve your score path. But that's where we're going to start so I can show you where you can add these favorites too. So lots of good stuff here. And actually, we're going to start here in foundational skills and pick up and build on basic skills. And this is really something I think we've shown in all 3 of the sessions that we've held so far, because this content really applies to so many different types of users. So if we jump into foundational skills, these are building up your basic English skills, math skills, reading skills, science. You can see we've got a few different things. There are even Microsoft Office tutorials here. So as folks are maybe getting ready to take a GED, even take some of the different vocational tests, as they are maybe hoping to build up their skills in Microsoft Office, if they're going to work in, kind of an office setting. These are good places to get started, to start building up those, basic skills. Sorry, I feel like I keep saying the word, but that's what we call each of them. And what these act like, we've got question banks, but then also tutorials. So it's almost like you're taking a little online course, but it's just broken up into small pieces. And with the course, you take it at your own pace. It's all on-demand learning. You can take it in whatever order suits you best. We can see from the course contents here, there are different sections, almost like if you're looking at a textbook, these would be the different chapters. And you can see how many topics are in each of them. And again, you can start where maybe you need the most help. So if I want to, if I'm, concerned about my writing skills, or I, questions about punctuation, I can just jump in wherever suits me best. And then over on the left, you've got basically the flow of that bit of the course, and it can again move around within it. So when do I use a comma? I can jump right to the comma and start out. And what I like about this is I related it a bit to a textbook, and that's a bit of, I maybe shouldn't use that analogy because these really are kind of short, quick lessons. So for someone who needs a refresher, or for someone who's just getting started again, maybe working with patrons where English maybe isn't their first language and the standardized test they need to take is in English, you know, this is a good, simple place to get started with these tutorials. And it keeps track of where you are in the course, so you can always pick back up where you left off. It's saving your progress every time you jump into these. Same thing with the practice test. It's always saving the work you've done. You don't have to click a save button. It's just keeping track of where you are. And then as you go through the course, you'll see a little progress bar for how much you've completed. So you can see where you maybe need to perform some work, or if you've already can kind of check that box off and it's already done. The question banks are nice too. It can kind of give someone, oh, actually, I'm going to close out of this tab. The question banks are nice too, because it can give you almost a little bit of a self-assessment. So where am I with these math skills? Do I need to go take some of the math tutorials? I could start out maybe in the question banks, or use them as a self-test after you've gone through the tutorials. The question banks are going to act a bit more like the practice tests. Really, all of the practice tests, the question sets, are going to use this kind of learning management system that, if anybody has any kids in school, might be a little familiar with all the online learning that's done now and then, or nowadays. But we have basically a quick introduction to the quiz, or again, practice test. And were this a practice test and it's timed, you would see the timing here. This one is unlimited though. This isn't really a standardized test. You can get in there. And I'm not starting out in my strongest subject here, but I also don't help myself by randomly answering questions either. But what's nice, I'm just going to go through the first page here. You can see over on the left, it's kind of showing your progress as you work through the pages, as if you were doing this on paper. As you go through, you always have the ability to go back and change a question. And even if I move to the next page, I can quickly get to the previous one. I see the little check marks for things I've answered. You just go through, fill in what you need, and when you're ready, or not what you fill in everything here, it's going to warn me that I haven't answered all the questions. There are 14 unanswered questions, so I could go back and do that. But I really want to show you what the grading looks like. Well, not so much the grading, but the result, because you can then go through and go over your answers. So I got the wrong one here, should have picked D, and I get to view the feedback so I can see why. So why is that the correct answer? Why was mine incorrect? And these are all math problems, so I don't think we'll probably have too much. Or there we do. You do often get a little bit of a narrative help. It kind of depends on which test you're in. But a bit of an explanation as well as kind of seeing the actual work on this math problem. So you can learn immediately from any mistakes or things you need to go back and maybe work on a little bit more. So the foundational skills here, I think, are really useful for almost any path someone's going to take in the rest of the resource. Again, why we've talked about them in each of our 3 sessions. Now, there are specific tests that folks may be preparing for, like a GED. And again, we're going to go under improve your score. And in this case, they then kind of show up for what you're headed towards. So if it's a GED, you're going to look under high school. If it's, we're say SAT, you go under college prep. So they kind of go along with where you might be headed. And under high school, we'll find actually some other types of things like AP. There's some state-specific tests, but the ones I thought we'd take a look at, these 2 here, high school equivalency exams and the high school subject tests. So I don't know if you noticed with the foundational skills, most of the tutorials and test banks there were a blend of grades 6 through 8 and 9 through 12. These get into more high school subject areas as well, not just English, math, and reading, but science, social studies, and the others. So they can be really handy too if you're prepping for the GED. We have a detailed course for specifically for the GED, but this can help with other courses. We've got some French practice tests, so folks can maybe want to build up that, Spanish practice tests. You just got some more varied subject areas here. But for the GED specifically, we'll go into the high school equivalency exams. And we have, the GED is probably the most popular, but we also have prep for the high set exam, which is another kind of high school equivalency exam. But GED is the most popular. We have the ebook, Master the GED Test. I don't know why it's kept separate. I don't know why we don't have a separate section for everything we have for the GED. I think that might be getting cleaned up in a future release. But for right now, you can actually see kind of an L shape here. The ebook is available. We also offer prep for the GED in Spanish. And then the prep course contains, this will be for the English version. This is a prep course and the practice test. So if I select this and notice I've got it starred, so it shows up on my homepage. You have a whole prep course specifically for the GED. You'll see this for a few other exams within the resource as well. The SAT, the ACT both have them, a few others. But again, this is kind of a combination of the way we saw the tutorials and the question banks. Same idea here, but for the GED specifically. So a little prep course doesn't cost our patron anything to do this, where it might in real life if they were taking a GED prep course. And then at the bottom, we have the practice test. You can see I've worked my way through some of these, some of the work here. But this is going to be just like what we saw for the math question bank. If you look over on the left, with most of the practice tests, we're going to have a few different versions. So there's a diagnostic text. Looks like I've done a bit of that. And done a bit of the practice test as well, but there are 4 different versions. Peterson's doesn't encourage folks to take them the same ones over and over, because then you get into more of a memorization. So they like to offer multiple versions of the practice test. So that's why we're going to have these. I think, 3 is usually the standard. We usually have 3 different versions. You may see more. I think the SAT, we're up to 9, something like that. So as time goes on, this may grow as well. You can reset the results. So if I've taken all 4 and I want to do them all again, you can do that through the, you just go in through the, if we go back to the course homepage here, and through the menu up top here, and reset through the quizzes. So easy way. So lots of good stuff for the GED. And before we wrap up, what I'm going to do is share some ways you can help spread the word about the resource and make this content more discoverable and draw folks right into this content. So we've got a few different tools for you to do that. But if you have a lot of folks who are using GED prep in the library, you definitely want to point them in this direction. So let me check my checklist here. I think I wanted to show you here. Yeah. So still under improve your score, in the international section, this is where we're going to find help for our patrons who are maybe looking to become citizens. We have both the U.S. citizenship exam, but then also prep for the TOEFL. And I don't know if we say it like this, the TOEIC maybe? I'm not sure. I'm not quite as familiar with this exam as I am the TOEFL, but these both are ways to basically test your English skills. And again, are going to have online test prep within both. The citizenship exam, I believe they're in the Peterson's, I should say, is in the process of updating the practice exam. So currently we only have 1, but I want to pop into it to show you something it does. But notice we've also got the ebook. We have MARC records for these that you can load into the catalog. And I think, Mary, you were talking with your CSM, Kevin, about this and how that might work. But regardless of whether maybe it ends up in your catalog or not, it's nice to have this content, because along with all of the study prep that lives inside the book, there are practice exams there too. So you could kind of print out the pages with the practice exam. You would have to self-grade it, but there is, additional practice exams. And I wanted to point it out specifically right now for the, suppose I could use a table of contents to easily get where I want to go here, but randomly selecting pages isn't quite as informative. But a lot of good info here. And again, the ability to offer more tests, because again, we do have just one right now for the practice test. So let me pop in there. Plus the tutorial that's available as well. So the citizenship exam has changed over the years. It used to be, I think, just 20 or 25 questions, and it has definitely changed. It used to be all multiple choice. And this is one I've gone in and done a little work ahead of time. Please, again, ignore my answers. What I wanted to point out is most of the tests are going to offer at least some multiple choice, if not all multiple choice options. But other exams often ask for short answers or essay questions or something like this where you kind of fill in a blank box. Those do need to be self-graded. This is basically an automated tool, so it can grade those multiple choice options. But when you're filling in a blank like this, it does need to be checked by the user. So any of these fields that they're filling in, they'll want to take a look. And I believe it gives us that. Actually, let me go ahead and grade this and we'll see. Let's just see it in action. So again, lots of unanswered questions for me here. Let's take a look at the results here. Yeah. So it does give you the feedback. This, I apologize, I couldn't remember this from the last time I did it. So when you are filling in an answer, oh, whoops, yeah, I can see where I went wrong there. But you can fill in that data and then use the feedback to check your answers. Now, if it were more of an essay, that's really where the user is the feedback will kind of give you an idea of what you should do, but really it's more of the practice of doing it for those essay style questions. I don't think a lot of them come up in the basic skills, but the GED, I think may have more of that. Nice, so good thing to know for some of those practice tests. Alrighty, again, checking my list here. I think those are all the items I wanted to share. Mary, was there anything else here? I think I got through the list of items.
Did you just want to show them a little bit about the test of English as a foreign language?
Absolutely.
Because we do have some people specifically from literacy and ESL organizations who are not from public libraries on this call.
Yeah, let me get back there.
Thanks.
So our test of English as a foreign language, TOEFL, oh no, I think maybe I'm saying that one wrong. But again, we're going to have practice sets here. One of the ones I like, and I think the GED had this as well, the vocabulary lists are really handy. It's a good, well, all of this is about prep, right? But it's a good test prep tool, practice sets and so on. This one has really grown over time as to what we offered due to feedback. So actually, let me go ahead and jump in and we'll take a look at the vocabulary. And oh, this is the ebook. Now, what I like about this, and don't share this with Peterson's, but you download this to an e-reader, put it on your iPad or something like that, and really make it portable because it is a PDF where the rest of the content kind of lives online. You can't really use it offline. So when you've got the ebooks, or even some of the sections you can kind of print from the tutorials sections, you can kind of make that a little bit offline, but the ebooks become a tool you can kind of, a study aid you can kind of take with you, in other formats because it's just a nice PDF. So very handy there. And again, just star what you might want to come back to again and again, those practice sets. Alrighty, any questions? I'm sorry, I haven't checked the chat. Let me look there. Alrighty. So the other paths I encourage you to explore, look for, other tools. There's also a quick search up top so you can check to see if we have anything you're looking for. Oh, and Mary's got a good note in the chat about access. So The geo-authentication off of Jersey Clicks and what most of the libraries use themselves as well really makes this easy, you know, kind of a one-click entry point into the content. So definitely raises that ease of use.
It does. And I did want to point out for those of you who are not in public libraries, this resource just became available in July, and some of our public libraries in New Jersey haven't yet put links to it on their websites. So that's why I wanted you to know you can get the link from the Gale support page, or if you want, you can just log in right from Wanaque Library. We did put that.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. And I think, oh, you know what? It took me, is it Jersey Click? Oh, there we go. View databases. There we are. All listed here. If you do a quick search for Jersey Clicks, you can find it right from their webpage.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, too.
Terrific.
So I couldn't remember if they had their own domain for it or not, but there we go. Alrighty, so I did want to spend just a minute on the support materials that are available for this resource. We've got lots of good stuff out there for our libraries to help spread the word, so no need to kind of go looking for, you know, or creating your own bookmarks or banners to use on your website. We even have social media posts ready to go so you can share. Lots of great training materials too, tutorials, you know, handouts about creating a resume or something like that. So lots of good stuff. You don't have to start from scratch. You can take our materials and make them what you need them to be. The other item I wanted to mention is, again, how libraries can kind of help spread the word about these resources. Talked about MARC records briefly. The other thing I wanted to mention are the direct URLs we have. And basically, these lead you to subject hubs. So the example here is for the SAT, but a page like the high school equivalency exams has a subject hub. And that's basically just a persistent URL that you can then put in a tweet, add to an electronic newsletter, or we've even had some libraries who create QR codes with their URLs and then place those QR codes near the you know, test prep section of the library so folks can quickly kind of bring up the resource, and it drops you right into that you know, collection of tests or ebooks or whatever it may be. Those subject hubs are basically the pages. I jump back to the resource like this. We would have one, this would be a subject hub for the TOEFL. So you can, with a MARC record, search on that, find it in your catalog, and it's got a link right in the 856 tag of the MARC record that brings you right to this page. So it brings folks in from other places to help them discover that the resource is available. So we have lots of good stuff out on the support site to kind of help you with those things. And you can also talk to your customer success manager at Gale, who will most likely be Kevin Teller, who Mary has worked with. I think he handles all of the public libraries in New Jersey. But just in case, I put the general email address here so it gets routed to the right person. But your customer success manager at Gale is there to help, basically help you be successful with the resources and help you figure out access issues or take requests. They really do it all. They're a good person to get to know. I'm your trainer for New Jersey, so you can certainly feel free to reach out to me too. If I don't have the answer, I know where to go to get it. Being a librarian myself, I will track it down. And then of course your account rep is always happy to help as well. And tech support's available too. You can always get in touch with them. So if you click the link to that subject hub when you're not logged in, will it show you the sign in page? Usually what those links do, and it isn't always perfect technology, but usually they take you to that page. And then once you click to do something, it will prompt you to log in. So it is kind of varies, I think, depending on, you know, certain cookies that might be on your machine. If, you know, you've been in a Gale database recently, that can kind of adjust the way those links work. But regardless, you will land in the resource. It's just when does it prompt you to log in is really what can vary. So, but usually the way it works is it lands on that subject hub, then prompts you to log in once you click on something from that page.
Although I did notice that if we wanted to just download one of the test prep ebooks, we don't need to create an account because we're not tracking our progress online.
I think you do. Let me test it out. They might have I haven't tried it in a long time, not being logged in, because it's funny, that has changed over time. That used to be the case with the ebooks. And then you did
Okay.
need to be logged in. But I think we've gotten feedback that folks are, why? We're not tracking progress, it's a PDF. So
Right.
let's test it out. So bear with me just a second, folks. We'll get this answered. Let me log back into my account here. Now, I shouldn't say log into my account. I'm not actually going to do it. Let me get back to the resource. And oh, right. I don't have my, let me do one that I haven't done in this browser today. We have the firefighter ebook. Yes.
Oh,
It
okay.
is, yeah. So yeah, it's gone back and forth. Let me make a note. I can kind of check in with that. But yeah,
So
there were even, I don't think you can get very far at all. I think even under like find a school, even to search for a college, I think you have to log in now, because it offers, once you're there, yeah,
okay.
You can kind of keep track of the schools you want to follow.
Right.
So yeah.
So, but once again, it's a free and pretty simple login process.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if I bring up that page again, just name, username and password and secret word are what's required. So, and you're immediately in. There's no, waiting period or anything. Right. So, and if you forget your account, again, there's other ways to regenerate it than the email address if you don't include that. So, but yeah, if you just want to get in quick to look up a college or download an ebook, you can just create a new account.
True. Yeah. Does anybody else have any questions for Stacy that you would like answers to? Now would be a good time. So for those of you who are literacy tutors or staffers or volunteers, you can create an account. You can download the things like the vocabulary prep. You can walk your students through. They can create their own account. So we hope you're going to take good advantage of this, because it's free to everybody who lives in New Jersey.
We're excited to be on the program, and if anybody's attending the New Jersey School Library Conference, I'll be part of a session we are offering with the state library. So feel free to, and we have a booth. Gail will have a booth, so feel free to stop by and say hi. I'll be there on Sunday. But hopefully we'll come to the New Jersey Library Association conference as well at some point. But school library one is coming up this next weekend, coming up here. So in case we've got any school folks.
Okay, everybody, last chance. All right. Thanks again for attending. And thank you so much, Stacy. This has been very helpful.
Absolutely. Thanks. Well, thanks for inviting me.
Okay, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.